Hi, my name is Matt Crowley and I am a product specialist here at Atlas Copco. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the MWR-kit and how to initially set it up before you make any configurations to any of the tools connected to the kit. So before we dive into actually looking at any of the software, the first thing we want to do is make sure we have all the hardware components we need available to us and that they are ready to use. So the first piece we want to look at is, considering the MWR-kit is connecting a Mechatronic wrench to a PF6000, we want to make sure we have not only our PF6000, but we want to make sure, or at least be aware, that we have the right components in our PF6000 as well. So there's three things we want to look at. Primarily, we want to look at the virtual station, the software it's on, and then also we want to make sure we have the right IAM. So in this instance, when using an MWR-kit, we always want to make sure we have 3.1.8 or newer. In my instance, I have 3.1.8. Furthermore, you also want to make sure that you have an appropriate virtual station. So there's a variety of different virtual stations you can use in your PF6000 with a Mechatronic wrench. In my instance, I'm using a critical control virtual station. Like I said, there are others that will work, so you can check on that with other local representatives or other documentation we have available to find out which virtual station you can use. Finally, we want to make sure we have the right IAM. In my instance, I do have a PowerFocus IAM, and that is the IAM I would recommend everyone else using as well to make sure everything works as it should. Now that we have the PF6000 squared away, the next thing is to make sure we have our MWR-kit. We can see I have my MWR-kit, and it's plugged in both to power, and it's plugged into the PF6000 via Ethernet in the factory port as well. And finally, we want to make sure we have, of course, the tool. So here I'm using a 25 Newton meter Mechatronic wrench, and that's what I'm going to connect eventually here to the PF6000. So now that we have the hardware components squared away, the next thing we want to do for the initial setup is dive over to our laptop or our PC here, and we want to make sure that we have everything else here set up as well before we can begin making any configurations. So jumping into the PC here, there's really one big thing we want to make sure we take care of for our initial setup to make sure we can connect to the device before we make any changes, and that is our IP address. So to check that our IP address is acceptable and that it does not conflict with the MWR-kit, we want to come down here and we're going to open up our network and internet settings. From this point, we want to click Ethernet. We want to change our adapter options and go ahead and pick the Ethernet port that you're using on your device. So I'm going to open this up, and what we're going to be looking for is we are looking for the IPv4. So I'm going to go Properties, and then we're going to go IPv4, and that brings us to this menu, which is exactly what we want. So in the event you have a IP address configured here and it says use the following IP address, you're going to want to come back and change this to obtain an IP address automatically. That way it's dynamic and it can connect to the MWR-kit without any issues. So you just say OK and close out all these windows. And the final step is just to verify that we can actually connect to the MWR-kit. That's the final step for our initial setup. So to do that, open your browser of choice. I would suggest using Chrome. And type the IP address to the port that you are connected to the MWR-kit. In this case, I'm connected to the service port of the MWR-kit. And the IP address there is 169.254.1.1. If I hit enter, it should, and it does, connect to the MWR-kit. Therefore, now we know that we are properly configured for our initial setup to begin making changes to this product. That concludes today's video of the MWR-kit initial setup. If you have any further questions, reach out to your local Atlas Copco representative, and thank you for watching.